This is like if Tyson fought an infant.
I bet Mike Tyson would fight an infant for enough money. For sure. Hey there, Dan here. Welcome to QA Bootcamp. I am so happy to see you. And today I am watching Grandma's Boy. You know what? I remember seeing the movie a few years back. I don't remember it very well. I do remember it kind of getting some things right and some things wildly wrong about the game industry. But yeah, I'll go ahead and we'll just watch it, I guess. And I'm not going to comment on the quality of the movie itself, but I will say how accurate the game industry stuff is. So I guess let's get started. I like the Galaga opening. That's a nice touch. I mean, shows they know something about video games, right?
So you can't kill the demon at the end of level 6? Do you have the magic arrows? Easy. Here's what you do. Hide behind the boulder. When the demon comes out of the cave, shoot him 3 times with the magic arrows. Then his head will start to spin. Once that happens, you jump up on the boulder, you do a flying downward thrust with the Sword of Doom, and that's it. Level 6 is done. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, I gotta say that no matter my video game knowledge or, freaking aptitude, I have never been applauded by anybody, let alone kids or anybody, about my video game, expertise. That's never happened, and I really doubt it ever will. It's a nice fantasy, though, to know that people would actually be impressed with how to kill a boss on a level. I do have to say that they kind of nailed actually the way it would look at the inside of a game developer. Now, that building is massive. Surely that one building is not just the one developer. I imagine there's probably a different business on every floor. If you're ever in a building that size and you're working in the game industry and the company has the whole thing, you're working at a publisher. You're no longer working at a developer. So basically, sorry, got off on a sidetrack there. As far as set design and everything like that, they actually nailed it. There would be game posters everywhere, especially ones from the games that you guys made. There'd be like tchotchkes all over the place. There'd be, arcade machines, maybe a break room with arcades and arcade machines and such. Yeah, this is actually pretty spot on. It's a neat place to be, to work. They're cool. Now, I will say that this is a little abnormal for maybe since he's a senior tester, he's kind of got his own little, hideaway, or his own little corner, maybe his own little cubicle. But most of the time, whenever you're in QA, or at least whenever you're, entry level QA, maybe not like him, you'll be packed in like sardines. There's going to be a lot of you in the same room. You're all going to have to share the same desk. The odds of you getting your own cubicle or what have you is probably pretty low. But hey, again, I've only worked in a handful of QA, studio or QA departments. Hopefully, wherever you get a job, we'll give you your own desk or what have you. So, yeah.
So, Samantha, as you know, our immediate focus is the completion of Eternal Death Slayer 3 in time for the fall.
We've had an enormous amount of bugs at this stage, and quite frankly, I'm a little more than concerned.
Knifehead 4 was in a similar situation, but we met the deadline. Jump Rope City was a total nightmare, and we figured it out.
That's why I brought you in. To complete EDS 3 on schedule so we can free up all the testers.
Okay, so it's not actually out of the realm of possibility. It's actually fairly normal though for a game that's in trouble, sort of in, I'd say, mid to late stages of development and having a lot of trouble getting things done and shipping and such have you. It's not abnormal for them to bring in an outside producer just to take a look, but usually whenever they bring in that outside producer, it's not a happy thing. They're not there to make friends and, finish the game. Basically what they do is they come in with an axe and they usually, okay, and this isn't always the case, but they usually come in and they start chopping features. Like this game should have been out months ago. It's nowhere near. We're getting rid of this feature. We're getting rid of collectibles. We're getting rid of multiplayer. We're getting rid of online co-op. They just come in and they start chopping. and say, all right, this is what we're going to get rid of. End of story. Save it for the sequel kind of thing. So, yeah, it is pretty normal for them to bring in, say, an outside producer sometimes, but it's not usually a happy time at the company if you're having to bring in an outside producer, especially one that's got the reputation for, like, hey, I make games ship. All right. So, yeah, it's not necessarily a bad thing. A lot of times that game could end up being awesome just because it was bogged down in too much minutia. But yeah, it does happen.
New map.
2 major titles in 1 year? And he's programming and designing them all by himself. He must be a genius.
Well, JP is not normal. He created the original Eternal Deathslayer when he was only 13.
Okay, so there are games that get made with just a sole developer doing all the design, programming, all that kind of stuff. That is obscenely rare. That is sort of like a self-made millionaire. It's pretty abnormal, pretty weird for it to happen. But yeah, usually if a game is going to be successful and well known, it was worked on by at least a handful of people, like 5 or 6. A single developer, especially at one of a company this size, would not be just like a sole designer, sole programmer. That just doesn't happen. There's going to be teams of each discipline. So, yeah.
JP! Sorry I'm late, Mr. Cheezel. I was in the middle of another huge breakthrough with the new game. It's the future of gaming.
Breathtaking. Care for tea?
No, I'm good. I don't believe that we've met.
Oh, this is Samantha Garson. I brought her in from New York to be the project manager on the EDS3.
Hi.
Okay, so maybe this guy is sort of putting a lot of English on the ball. I don't 100% know who the actor is, but he's nailing it, because you might not find anybody quite this egregious, but the video game industry is well known for having socially maladjusted folks. So you're going to run into some people who are just not quite, I guess the term normal would be the case, but what is normal really? It takes all different types of people, and I'd say the more different types of folks you have, the better the game is going to be, as long as everybody can get along. So you're going to have strange people in the game industry for sure. I'm sure they're awesome. Just give them a chance. They're weird, but I'm sure they're great. I've met some of my lifelong friends just because I sort of swallowed that weird awkwardness at first and being like, okay, this person's a little strange. And some of my best friends I've ever met in my life, I kind of just had to go past that. And I learned from just you got to learn who they are. So, yeah, you're going to run into some weirdos for sure.
Check starting with level 1. Okay? Kane, you are going to take 1 through 3.
Whatever you need, Samantha.
Barry, you'll cover 4 through 6.
Yeah, no, I can do that, no problem. You're great.
Jeff, you're already working on 7 through 9, so why don't you just stick with those?
Let's do it. The levels, I mean, not sex. Sorry.
Okay, so they're kind of joking around here, but I do feel like it's only responsible for me to broach the uncomfortable subject of sexual harassment in the game industry. It's a pretty raucous industry sometimes, and sometimes people are not treated fairly. People are not treated well, and there's usually a culture of it. They sort of like look the other way, or just say, oh, they're just having fun, or oh, this is the game industry. You kind of just got to deal with it. It's not okay. It needs to stop whenever it happens. It's not cool. Everyone should feel cool working on this awesome freaking industry, in this amazing medium, and everybody has should feel safe doing that.
Hey, Jeff. Oh, hey, Alex. So, I finished my first level last night. How far are you, Alex?
Does it look like I got any levels done last night?
Oh, my God. That's crazy.
So levels done is a really weird phrase. I guess you could set up a test plan and then you finish the level by running through it. But as QA, your job is never done. If you finished all your test plans, guess what? You're going to run through them again, or run through a different test plan, or maybe just run through the game ad hoc testing. I don't know, but you're definitely not finished at any point whenever you're in QA, because there's no way to assure that all of the bugs are out of the game. So that's the way it goes. You know what? Maybe in design, programming, stuff like that, you can have a set of tasks, get them all done. Woohoo, you're done for the day. QA, keep at it, buddy. Get back in your desk.
You seem really out of place in the video game world.
Why? Because I'm a woman?
No, because you're a really hot woman, and you are swimming in a sea of virgins.
Come on. Ooh. Hi, you're dead. Bye-bye. What's up?
Okay. So I'm actually really this was made back in, I think it's 2006. You would not allow a tester to take home a development kit or a test kit or any kind of kit from the office at all. Like, work from home now, things have kind of changed, but yeah, back then, no way you would let a tester take home a test kit or a dev kit or anything. Those things are way too pricey. But on top of that, probably the bigger issue is that it has your build on it, like an unencrypted, just anybody could download it and check it out kind of build. So if that were to walk out the door and then wind up on some forum or something like that, some kind of file sharing site, your game is out there for free. So that's probably not such a great thing. So I wanted to take a quick moment. So this is a Nintendo Switch test kit. It looks just like a regular test kit or a regular Switch, right? You can tell it's a test kit because on the back, and I've removed the kickstand because they're annoying. On the back, there is that. Let's see if you can see it. Focus. Okay, hopefully you guys can see that. It's like EDEV-D. That is how you can tell that this is a test kit. I can actually show you. This is a PlayStation 4 test kit. I don't have a PlayStation 5 test kit here or an Xbox Series X, but I will show you those eventually once I have them on stand. This is how you can tell if it's a test kit on the PS4. It has a little thing that says test down here. Right there. Yep, and in case... So those were super, super subtle, but let me show you an even more subtle one. This is the Xbox One. This is the Xbox One development kit. See if you can't tell how it's a dev kit. Yeah, it's pretty obvious on the Xbox. These are pretty big and obvious, and when they're dev kits, there would be no mistaking one of these bad boys for a retail kit. It just wouldn't happen. Now, real quick on test kits and dev kits, just so I know that is totally not the topic of this video, but dev kits and test kits will not run retail games. So if you were to go get a game off the shelf, put it in the box, would not work. Very important to remember that. I think the PlayStation 3 allowed that, and it actually caused some pretty big security problems for them. So most platform holders will not allow you to do retail discs in a test or dev kit. There you go.
I just don't like techno.
You would if you had robot ears.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway, I had a suggestion for Eternal Death Slayer. You know the dwarves and the elves?
3.
What?
Eternal Death Slayer 3.
3. Sorry. Anyway.
It would be really odd for a developer to demand that you say the full name of the game. Everybody just uses acronyms in the game industry of your project usually. Like Absolute Tactics would be AT, Saints Row would be SR, Saints Row 2 would be SR2. So yeah, it doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but after you say a project freaking 100 times a day, you do kind of get tired of saying the whole thing. You just say SS, SR, stuff like that. So yeah, the developer saying, hey, you have to say the whole name of the game is pretty ludicrous.
Don't you think that the dwarves on level 4 look a little too similar to the elves on level 6? Might be a little too confusing.
Well, that's an interesting theory, Kane, but redesigning all those characters at this stage would be way too expensive.
I agree. But what if you just rendered them a different color? You know, that would be cheap and quick.
You know, that's actually pretty accurate to what something you would do to sort of get more out of your sort of design and artist dollar. That's something that they've been doing since the very beginning. Even back in like the Super Nintendo and NES days, like there were like say Final Fantasy, let's say Final Fantasy 4, for example, there were the imps. There's just a sprite, and then what they would do is later on in the game they would do a color swap. So they would just take the exact same sprite, make it a different color, give it a different name, different stats, and then suddenly you've got a brand new enemy that cost you almost nothing. It was just about back then it was all about saving time, money, and mostly space. But yeah, that is something that's still commonly done in the game industry today. Take a character, model, just tweak it a little bit, and then sort of have it as its own thing. So yeah, good on you, Grandma's boy. That's actually pretty common practice in the game industry.
Just run it by Alex. Maybe he'll talk to JP.
Sleeping under the desk, I have definitely done that. No exaggeration, and I'm so glad things are better in the industry now. I hope for everybody. My record is 114 hours in 1 week. That is sleeping under my desk. That is getting up and showering there at the studio, eating at the studio, basically doing everything at the studio. That studio was my life for months on end, and I went home maybe once a week. Don't live like that. That's not a good way to do things. Don't be that kind of employee. Unfortunately, we didn't really have much of a choice back then, but now we do. Thank goodness. At least I think we do. God, I hope most people do.
Samantha, what's the latest?
Well, Mr. Cheezel, not only have these guys found all the bugs, but we have detailed instructions on how to fix them. We're back on schedule.
Phenomenal.
Okay. First of all, the phrase "found all the bugs" never going to be uttered by any game developer, that we found all the bugs. It doesn't happen. Next up, I plan on doing a full video about this, but it's not QA's job to suggest fixes. It is our job to find the bugs, document the bugs, hopefully, and that should be like, screenshots, videos, steps, things like that, and then we regress the bugs whenever we get them back. It's really that simple. I'm going to get into it later in a different video, but for now, just know that it is not QA's job to suggest how to fix bugs. We can sometimes use certain language to suggest what we would like to see done. That's definitely possible, but you kind of get good at doing that as you learn to write bugs and get a little more time under your belt. But saying you found all the bugs and you know how to fix them, yeah, that doesn't happen.
Look, at the end of the day, you have to do what you're passionate about.
Exactly.
Plus, you can't get stoned and be an accountant. Make too many mistakes, you lose people millions of dollars, you get fired.
Okay, maybe don't get high at work. Just saying. Pretty sure it was Confucius that said, "Hey, bro, be smart about this. Don't lose your job." I'm not at work.
Debug! I tried that. Traffic meter! Oh, that's not it. What? Shit! This is not working.
In a game that's really close to shipping, you wouldn't see all that green stuff unless, I guess it is possible he just sort of has his own test level that he drops characters in or drops things in and, obviously test things out. Those test levels actually a lot of times will remain in the game. Most of the time they're ripped out, though, just to make sure. Sometimes they remain in the game simply because whenever they're ripped out of the game for unknown reasons, the parts of the game that aren't test will break. So there are a lot of times where there's like, hey, we've just got to leave the test levels in because it breaks whenever we take them out. So there's some kind of dependency that we're not seeing. So that does happen sometimes. Where did we get on test levels? Anyway, back to the show.
I've been developing this game for over 3 years.
What are you talking about? I've been working on this game all year. You know that, Mr. Cheezel.
Okay, that's bullshit. Robo bitch came over to my house last night. I showed him this game. He said he was gonna give me some notes on it, not fucking steal it.
Do you have another copy of the game?
No.
Oh, well, that's convenient.
There really, honestly, even in 2006 would be like 1,000 ways to prove that you developed this game. There'd be stamps on like every single file. There would be, data everywhere pointing to your work. It would be really, really hard to just, and you wouldn't just keep it all stamped onto a disc and like that's it. Like that's the only place for it because you can't develop the game on the like the disc. It has to be on a hard drive somewhere. That's just the way data works. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it, but yeah, like it wouldn't be just like a disc. Hey, here's the all of my game. I guess you could put all of the files on a disc every time, delete it off of the hard drive every time afterwards, and then remove it back to the hard drive, make whatever changes you're going to make, and then repeat. That would be ridiculous. You would not do this. This is not a thing you would do. So anyway, yeah.
You got skills.
All right, I do have to give them credit, because at least the main character, and heck, even the monkey, plays video games on a controller better than a lot of actors do who have no idea how to play video games, apparently. It's like, this is what it looks like when someone's playing a game, right? They're doing that crazy crap. Like they're freaking trying to, I don't know, meld with the controller in some weird way. Doing some kind of double Vulcan mind meld constantly. Hoping to become one with the damn thing. Anyway, that always bugged me. I got to give it to Grandma's Boy that they actually did a pretty decent job here of actually showing a decent, actually holding the controller and playing it properly. That is a weird thing to go on about, but there it is.
I love what you did with the bit mapping. Very stylish, very aggressive, very, very Miyamoto.
Right. That's what I was going for.
All right. I mean, I appreciate them name dropping Miyamoto. That's cool. I mean, he's like the grandfather of video games, or not grandfather. It's more like, I guess, the father, because like I would say Ralph Baer. Well, William Higginbotham. Well, I'm going too far back. Well, it's yeah, he's very important in the game industry, in case you don't know. But yeah, it's weird because to reference him in like bump mapping, I think is what they said, or bitmap. I don't even know what the hell he said. But it's weird to connect those two things. Like he is design god kind of thing. Well, not anymore. He's kind of lost his mind, I think, lately. But yeah, anyway, I may have hit the vaporizer a little bit too hard, and now I am stammering and carrying on. All right, so that was Grandma's Boy. I won't comment on the quality of the movie. I mean, there are parts of it that are kind of funny, but their overall quality is a little shaky. But the prototype, I do have to give it to whoever made the prototype for the movie. It did a solid job. It looks like, prototypey, but like it looks like a pretty what you would see as a prototype as a professional game company. So or at least in the early stages. So that's really cool, man. Overall, it takes a better stab at it than most movies do, or shows that I've seen. Usually, whenever they depict gaming, it's really in a terrible way. Not just inaccurate, but just like in a sort of like this is the downfall of society kind of way. And I think the reason for that is usually they're depicted on like freaking nighttime soap opera crime shows, like CSI and such. So anyway, that's it. Thank you so much. I hope you learned something. If nothing else, I guess you now know what a test kit looks like for the three big consoles, not counting this generation, which is the Series X and PlayStation 5, depending on when you're watching this. Anyway, I'm yammering again. Damn you, Vaporizer. Anyway, bye.